Hello, everyone. My name is Melinda, and this is episode 7 of my knitting podcast. Welcome to all of you. Whether you have seen one of my prior episodes or this is your first time, I am happy that you're here. This is a knitting podcast where I talk about projects that I'm working on, things I have planned for the future, any kind of yarn acquisitions that I've gotten, and there is an exciting event today. I'll be doing a giveaway, so be sure to stay tuned to the end to figure out how to enter that, and we'll just get to it. So for starters, I'll talk about what I'm wearing. This is a self-drafted pattern. I made this a year or two. This is about, it was over a year ago. About a year ago. I don't know. In the last 2 years, I made this garment. It's in a very cool kind of waffly knit stitch, but it's created with a combination of like knits, purls, and slip stitches. If I remember correctly, it's a 4-row repeat. That could be wrong, but it is a very cozy sweater. My intention was to have this be one of my first designs that I put out, but I didn't really like my sample all that much for a few reasons. So number one, as you can see, the collar just like really falls. So I would need to do like double knit or something. It is picked up after the fact, but it just is not strong enough to hold up this garment. This stitch uses quite a bit of yarn. I want to say this was 6 skeins of DK weight, which I feel like is quite a bit for like a 38 to like a 38 inch bust finished garment. Yes, I don't know, but it also, I ran out, so the dye lots for the cuffs are different. I don't know if you can tell, but you can tell on the collar, I think, that it's slightly different. And it's just like so thick and so heavy that I kind of wanted to remake it. But that just never happened. So maybe someday, but for now, I will just wear it on a knitting podcast because I don't know that I've ever worn this one out in public. Obviously, haven't like woven in all my ends. You can probably see this guy popping out, but oh well. Alrighty. I did knit this in Autumn and Indigo yarn. I couldn't tell you the colorway, but kind of like an off-white grayish color. So there it is. That's all I got for it. And we'll go on to the next. Alrighty. So last week I had started the Fantasyland, not festival. I called it the festival sweater 16,000 times. I didn't call it Fantasyland once. I only called it the festival sweater, which is not this pattern. That's a petite knit pattern, but anyway, and I did accomplish my goal of finishing the body. So I actually wrapped this up just this morning, cutting it down to the wire to keep my word on the podcast. But this is, for those of you who haven't seen before, a sample knit for Sorella yarn. They are an indie dyer company, growing. Yes, and I had signed up, got selected, and so I've been working on this guy. It's knit in their DK weight yarn. I think it's just 100%. I honestly don't have all the yarn details, but I want to say it's just their 100% merino yarn. It is very soft. It is superwash, so it's kind of got the superwash feeling where it's just like I feel like plasticky is a bit dramatic, but you can just feel that it's like this squeakier, not just like super soft smooth that you get from non-superwash wool. It's been treated, that's what it is. And I'm fairly certain that the main color is just their bare yarn. It might be also one of their neutral fall tonals, but the stripes are definitely the fall tonals, which those are listed now. The first time was this last week, and so it's the green, blue, and like golden yellow colorway. I think this one's called Harvest. I don't remember the other two. So yes, I guess now I just need to pick up and knit the sleeves. It's like a straight sleeve just with rapid decrease toward the bottom before the cuff, and other than that, smooth sailing from there. So it does use like a jogless stripe method, which is working out okay, but I think it'll be significantly better once I weave in the ends, just because you can see like obviously those stitches in the middle are pretty loose and they're like little holes, so I will definitely have to clean that up. It is a bit of pressure knowing that this is like being created to take photos of and to like sell the garment, so I've been trying to be very particular about everything, and like if I have a wonky stitch to tend to that. So it's been good, like challenging in an interesting way, like trying to make it as perfect as possible. So this has been fun, simple to knit. I will say I'm like less motivated about it, knowing that like I don't get to wear it or gift it. It's just more of like a business transaction essentially. So it's been fun to knit regardless of that fact, but I've been much more excited about other projects that I'm working on that I get to wear or work on or that I'm creating. So anyway, that is that Fantasyland sweater by Sorella in Sorella yarn. And I guess let me set a goal. I'll have at least one sleeve done for next week. It would be awesome if I could get both done, but I'm only gonna promise one. That's the plan. Okay. Put that over there and peek at my phone because I got a notification. And now we'll put it on Do Not Disturb. That's not Do Not Disturb. There we go. I got a new phone a couple weeks ago, which is super exciting. I was rolling with an iPhone 8 for like 4.5 years, and then it finally got to the point where it wouldn't work unless it was plugged in. And so I, yes, unfortunately had to get a new phone, which it was fortunate because I wanted to upgrade, but I didn't really have a reason to. So it's like, I'll just hold off until this one dies officially. And it did. So I got a new phone and I ended up going for like the 13 Pro. So I feel super fancy with all my little cameras on the back. And it does take really good pictures, like relative to what my other iPhone could do. And even just like watching YouTube videos or doing whatever, the experience is significantly better on my new iPhone. So sponsor me or something. I'm drinking an afternoon cup of coffee in my fall mug because it's September, which means it's fall. Good stuff. All right, trying to decide which order I would like to go in. The next couple of things I have to talk about are both new cast-ons. We'll talk about the one I'm less excited about, and they're actually acquisitions as well. So I'll talk about the projects. I guess I'll just talk about the yarn with the project, and we'll call that good. So I wanted to use the kind of style that my Joan sweater was knit in to make some winter accessories. So the first one that I started working on is a hat, and this is not it. So a bit, not a fail, but a learning process, I guess. So my thought here is that, I don't know, just a few things that I need to improve on my next version. So that's why you can see that there are not any needles in it currently. So it's got that same like 1x1 1x1 color work that the Jones sweater has on all like the edges. But the problem with this is a hat, which means it needs to stretch over your head. So the sizing for it is good, but I discovered that with this 1x1 color work, when you slide it open, you can see the other colors peeking through. So I just need to be a little bit, basically I need more stitches to where it can stretch and fit your head, but not to the point where it's like everything is peeking through so dramatically. So I also need to determine, my plan was to do a double brim. And so I had cast on with the white color. Oh, I do have my tags. So I got some, I'm interrupting myself to talk about this, Malabrigo Rios from my LYS, which is worsted weight, approximately 210 yards per 100 grams. It's 100% superwash merino, and the white color here is ivory, and then the rust color is dulce de leche. And so I cast on in the ivory and knit the inside, and then came around for the double brim and then started the 1x1 color work, leaving just like a little bit of edging that's a little bit longer than what I want it to be on the bottom, but I don't know. I just did it like a little too many rows there, something more like that. And then knit up in the 1x1 color work, knit one round in the rust color, dulce de leche, and then knit the cast on down to where I was working, and then continued on in that other color. So it does like fit on my head, and it is like a good size for that, but it does stretch, and so it gets those little, the opposite color peeks through. And even if I didn't have like the double band on the bottom, I think that would still be happening, just because I just had an idea. I might have to test that out. Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm not gonna say it out loud because I don't know how it will work or how it will look. Oh, I feel like, okay, maybe I will just say it. What if I did the double brim in the one color, then the 1x1 color work where it's joined up into like just a couple inches here, and then the rest of the hat in the second color? Very interesting, very interesting. We'll have to try it out and see what it looks like. Okay, I don't even know where I was. I got distracted by myself, but basically I just need to take the 1x1 into account so that it can stretch enough where it like fits on your head nicely, but it doesn't stretch so much that you see the other color peeping through. So that's where we're at on this. My plan is to make like a hat and mittens, and then maybe like a cowl, probably, but we'll see what I want to do with that. So yes, I got these colors for the Malabrigo. That's what it looks like, all caked up. I think they're very cozy for fall. And I also was thinking I kind of want to flip it around where the darker color is at the bottom into the lighter color. I had initially done it this way because when I was thinking of the mittens, I was like, oh, I probably don't want like the white part on the hand, just like for practicality, that it won't get as dirty if it's the darker color as like the hand part. And then the stripes were on the cuff, which is my plan there. So I wanted that to match, but I'm thinking even if it's opposite, they're the same yarns, so it will coordinate just fine. And you'll only probably see, like if you're wearing a jacket, you won't even probably see the 1x1 color work except for peeping through just a little bit. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Thinking out loud, rambly, but a good learning process, not the final product. We'll see where this goes in the next week. Wonderful. Then I guess while I was talking about that, I'll just bring these ones out. So I thought it would also be fun to do another set with a variegated yarn and a solid yarn. And so this is the same Malabrigo Rios. This is Eucalypto and Sandstorm. So that is going to be another sample that I work up with these two. My goal is to get the hat and mittens. That might be ambitious. My thought was to get the hat and mittens out of 2 skeins, like 1 skein of each color. So the cowl is TBD, but I don't even know if I could make that work. I don't know. We'll see. But another set. There is the test for the John sweater is currently going on, and one of the testers is using like a color changing variegated yarn for the contrast color, and it just looks so cool peeping through like in the 1x1 color work, and that's been a lot of fun seeing everyone's progress. Nice. I have a feeling this is gonna be a shorter episode, but that's fine. Oh well. My third whip that I will be talking about today is another new cast on with more new yarn, and this yarn is the same yarn that I used for my Ashleigh sweater, which a note on that has been released. So if you want to go purchase that, you can see that in like my first handful of episodes as a whip and an FO and something I'm wearing. Just ran the whole gamut. But this is Patagonia Organic Merino, 100% wool. This one is in the colorway Pearl. And the story behind this new sweater, next design that I will be putting in the world, or at least next sweater design, depending on how those accessories go. I just like had a vision in my head, and it was one of those things where, not to be dramatic, but I just really felt like I needed to cast it on as soon as possible. It was like in my brain, and I was like, I need to get this on the needles. I had talked last week about how I couldn't cast on my luxury lento until I finished the Fantasyland sweater, but then I said to myself, it won't stop me. Like, I didn't say that I couldn't cast on other things, hence this hat, hence the sweater that I'm about to show you. But this is the Pearl colorway, and it is literally the exact yarn that I had in my vision. So it's a white base, but it has like some like grayish, blackish patches almost like running through it, just like the different depth that it gives it. And then there are also some, they're pretty few and far between, but just like random black speckles that show up, and it's just so good. So this is listed as a light DK. It's 382 yards per 100 grams. So definitely on the thinner side. I would say this is a sport. But it does fluff up quite a bit with blocking. So it's like a sport to knit with, and it fluffs up into what could be considered a DK or a light DK. So that is the yarn. And then the project, I'm so pleased with. It is just going exactly as I planned. Oh, I'm very happy. So it is a drop shoulder construction. Yep. It's not going to lay very nice because I haven't blocked it yet. But drop shoulder construction with a pretty basic, almost circular neckline, crew neckline, but it has that little bit of the V kind of scoop going on, but it goes probably just like right here, so it's nothing like too deep. And then I know this is all I have so far. Just I joined under the arms, and I've knit a few inches. It's all curling up on itself, so it's been, I don't know, probably have 3.5 inches or so of the body. And then I came back to do the collar just to make sure it was laying kind of how I wanted it to. So it's got an eyelet detail on the collar. And then I wanted to go for the sleeves, just to kind of see how those would work out, and then carry on, jump back to the body. So picked up for the sleeves, and I have like 1 inch or 2 there. That's worked out so far. And also, look at that pickup. That is clean if I've ever seen it before. But basically I just wanted to see if I can get away with knitting straight, or if I should look into doing some short rows for the drop shoulder, if that would be beneficial or if it will lay okay. without those. So I just like blasted right through all of that. But oh, you can see here one of the little black speckles. Boop. Yes. So I don't know. This just like it works, and I'm so excited. And so this has been definitely what's been taking all of my attention since I cast it on. I'm just really excited about it. That's as much as I have to say. That's how I feel about it. Excitement. So yes, I guess the plan for the sleeves will be, I kind of want to just go straight all the way to like the elbow, and then maybe just do a few decreases to make it not fitted, like still like loose on the cuff. But just give it a tiny bit of shaping so it's not a perfectly straight sleeve all the way down, but still like loose, big cuff around there. And then I guess the other decision I have to make is I'll probably test out bringing this detailing back on like the cuffs or the hem, but I'm not 100% sure on that, or if I'll just do ribbing or see how that goes. So we'll test it out when we get there. But new design that I am so pleased with. I can't wait to wear this. So it's going to be difficult to push myself to finish my sample knits and not just knit continuously on this. So yes, no name yet. I'll be thinking of things, or if you want to have any suggestions, I would love them. But new design on the needles, I am loving it. I can't wait to wear it. I'm just really happy. So yes, that is what I've got going on. And that is that is all the knitting I've done this week. I guess I did do like 3 or 4 rounds on my Mohair daily pullover-ish sweater. The one that I'm knitting just in a single strand of Mohair in that like icy blue gray colorway. But that, maybe not. It passed. Yes, that one's got touched just a tiny little bit. So nothing to actually show you. I'm on the body, so you probably can't even tell that I've knit anything on it. So yes, we had some family in town, so I wasn't really doing a ton of knitting. Just because we were, like, I was knitting while we were chatting and stuff, but we were playing a lot of games and stuff that I like, it wasn't appropriate to multitask. So that is where we were at, or it wasn't super easy, where I don't know. Oh my gosh, sometimes you just lose your mouth, the Michael Scott thing. Okay, we're done talking now. Oh my gosh, probably cut this part out, and then if I don't, that'll be fun too. Let's keep this here, and we might knit on that in a little bit. Okay, then one other acquisition to show. There was a sale at my OIS, and so I picked up some, why can't I think? Words are just like so difficult. Picked up some Tynn Mohair. I have a couple cones that I think this will go with for maybe a lento, I don't know, but basically to hold with yarn that I do have already. So this is the color Almond. It's just like an off-white cream color in Tynn Mohair. I've used this before in my Francis pullover, my first design that I published. This one is 57% mohair, 28% silk, and 15% wool. So it is quite nice. And I think this mohair, almost better than any other ones that I use, holds on to the fluff really well. And it could be because it's like 57% compared with sometimes it's like 70 something. So I wonder if that makes a big difference. It still gives like a great halo, but maybe that's it. So yes, picked up some of these bad boys. to be held double with something else for a garment. And then the stuff for the accessories and for this sweater. And that's that on that. Alrighty. I'm trying to think. I guess I'll do the giveaway, and then I have some kind of nitty chat that I wanted to talk about. Yes, we'll do the giveaway first, just in case anyone doesn't want to sit and chat. That's probably good. I don't know. Okay, so basically, I love when people do giveaways. I've only won one time ever, but I still get excited when other people get the stuff. Like, it's fun to win things, and so I know someone else won something, and so they're probably excited. So I want to do that too. So I have 3 different prizes. I got a little excited, so we'll go for 3 right off the bat. And sorry, a little out of reach. Okay, so I just like for funsies like to make stitch markers. I've only ever made them for myself. I have one on this project. Boop. Just little beaded guys that I'm using here. I think that's the only one that I'm using at the moment. But I decided that I would make some for a giveaway, and I have some yarn to go with it. So the first ones are these guys. They're all just like beaded ones. They'll fit up to size 11 needles, so pretty much everything. So there's those ones, and then there are these ones, which are like the ones that I'm using. So there are 5 of those. Focus, focus, focus. It's not focusing. Do you get the idea? Even if it won't focus, I can always like send photos or something. Well, I could just post a photo in here. We'll see if I do that. And then the last one are these big bubbly guys. I don't always does this, but I think it's just to cover your face, but my face is covered and it's still not focusing, so sorry about that. But they're like little marble beads with a tiny wooden bead at the top. And then in all of them, kind of not this one, but like there's, this guy has an extra one, so there are 9 of them, 8 plus this one for like beginning of round raglan. This one just has 5 on it. And this one also has 5, and I figured you could use this like bright white guy getting around if you need a, what's it called, like unique one. So there's that, and then with each of those we'll pair it with a skein of yarn. So this one is Forest Fiber Arts Merino Nylon 4-ply sock yarn, 25% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 463 yards per 100 grams in the colorway Pressed Flowers. So for a cute little pair of socks, there's like a little green moment right there. Pretty pretty. And then the next one is from Kinetic Knitwear, also 75/25 merino nylon, superwash merino nylon, timeless sock 4-ply, 463 yards per 100 grams in the colorway Love Buzz. This one I've made a pair of socks in before, and they're pretty cool looking. And then the last one is when I had purchased the yarn for my Joan sweater. I was knitting it in worsted weight, but I in like the worsted weight bin, they accidentally had a thing of sport weight, but I actually didn't need this skein anyway, so it was fine. But sport weight 2-ply, 360 yards per skein, 100% wool. This one, oh yes, is 100% wool. And then it's the natural color, 20% gray. I don't know exactly what that means, but basically sport weight, 100% non-superwash wool in this gray colorway. So definitely could be used for some accessories or color work in a sweater or something, but that is the third yarn. So I can these 3 yarns with 3 sets of stitch markers. So I'll pair one of these with each. We'll just say these are the pairings. This is a mess. Okay. So these little guys with the kinetic knitter yarn. And then we'll do these guys with the forest fiber arts. And then these marble bubble guys with the Blackberry Ridge Woolen Mill non-superwash yarn. There it is. So the way to enter is to, number 1, like this video, number 2, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then finally leave a comment. Really anything. If you leave a comment, you'll be entered for the giveaway. If you want some kind of prompt, then tell me what you're most excited about for fall. And that will be that. So the game plan will be to draw the winners on next episode, which should be next Thursday as usual. I typically film around 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. I don't know if it's standard time or daylight time. It's 1 p.m. Central. So basically right before that, or I guess till about that time, and then I'll probably, well, no, because then I can announce them if I don't know. It will be sometime after noon Central, Thursday, September 15th. I'm a very professional podcaster. Okay, so the 3 different prize packs, we'll have these 3, and then I will ship them out to you right after that. I guess another note is this is my first giveaway. I'm very small. I don't have like an incoming flow at this point, so this will be just limited to the US. Yes, we'll start there. At some point I'll do a giveaway that's open to everybody, but for my first one we'll just stick with the US. I'm sorry to everyone who watches that is beyond the borders, but I'm happy that you're here, and I promise that at some point there will be things that I will have the option to send out to you, but just for now we'll stick with the States, and that just is how it is for the time being. Okay, cool. So giveaway, I'm very excited. I don't know. I was making these guys to give away, which was fun, and then also everything else is just from my stash, and so picking stuff out that hopefully somebody will enjoy. And I'll probably just assign, I'm trying to think. I will just assign who wins each of them. Yes, that will be my plan. I don't know. I might do the thing. I'm thinking I should have had this exactly ironed out. I thought I did have everything ironed out, but I will get in contact with the 3 winners. And then if you want to send me your preference, like 1, 2, 3, which one you like the most, middle, worst, and then I will see how everyone ranks their stuff, and hopefully I can give everybody like their first or second choice. But if that doesn't work, then I will just apologize when that time comes, if it comes. So yes, we'll get in contact after I announce it next week, and hopefully we'll hear back and determine which goes where. Okay, enough on that. Giveaway, super exciting. Go team. Alrighty, that's the business that I have today. I do have a couple things that I do want to talk about. Very important matters in the world of knitting, and that is future plans. So I'm going to knit and chat. Alrighty, things that I have knitting that are coming up. I need to finish my Fantasyland, of course, and all the things that I have been working on also, of course. I do need to finish up the little frog and toad garments. I was thinking that I might make a goal once I finish the Fantasyland to complete one of those a week in order to just like have progress and be able to finish those items. And I figure I'll be seeing my family or my niece and them probably in the next like month or two. We don't have anything on the books at this point, but I'll have them done just for when we go for the next time around. So that is, well, really the Fantasyland, and then those little guys are the only things that I like have to get done. But just thinking about the rest of the year, which is wild, like it's almost mid-September, and that means that it's basically Halloween, which means it's basically Thanksgiving, which means it's basically Christmas, and that's just how it is. But with all of that, we have some like traveling and things, excitement, and then the holidays and all that will be coming up as well. So just figuring out what knitting looks like and what potential pattern things look like. I thought it would be nice to finish those accessories by like the end of October so that they could be potential options for gift knitting for myself as well as other people who might want to purchase those patterns. So that's kind of my goal there. And then the sweater that's being knit right before your eyes, I'm just super excited about, so I want to finish it and get it written up and pushed out there for testing and everything as soon as possible. But I have also been intrigued by a couple other things. Number one, everyone that's been knitting the Alpenglow by Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits. It is like such, I just feel like that's a very classic like Andrea Mowry pattern where of course she always works with magpie fibers and spin cycle yarns for the Rhinebeck sweater, which I will not be attending Rhinebeck. Maybe someday. I don't know. I'm going to interrupt myself. But I do get to go to Wisconsin Sheep and Wool, which is this weekend, which is super fun. So I don't know if anybody of you are from Wisconsin and will also be there. I guess say hello. I don't know that anybody will be, but that would be fun and kind of crazy. I'm just gonna continue off on this tangent. It's been really wild when people like sharing their Instagram stories from their knitting Instagrams that they're watching my channel. I'm just like, whoa, that's cool and wild. And like, obviously I know I'm putting it out there and like I see that people view my videos, but it's still kind of like just numbers on the screen. And so seeing people like play it and hearing your own voice in the background, which is always weird to hear your voice from a recording. But anyhow, let's bring it all back. Wisconsin Sheep and Wool is this weekend, which I'm very jazzed about. Another tangent. We'll get back to where we were going. But one of my sisters actually lives in the UK currently. And so I had joked at one point, I was like, hey, I've seen all these people talking about Perth Festival of Yarn. How cool would it be if I came to visit you and also got to just swing by the yarn festival? And that would be, I don't know, just like fun to make that all work out. So initially I had actually planned to do that, but then turns out that my husband wants to go visit as well. So like timing, it just didn't really shake out. So I was like, ugh, but I was excited because I've never been to a yarn festival either. So I was like, whoa, what if my first yarn festival is in Perth? Like, how cool would that be? But that's fine. My first yarn wool festival will be here in the wonderful state of Wisconsin. So that should be fun this weekend, even though it's not in Perth. There will still be sheep, there will still be yarn and excitement there. So I'll probably try to take some footage. I'm a little bit, I don't know what word to use. Like my last attempt at some kind of vlog did not go very well. So we'll see if I'll be able to scrounge something together. And if not, then I'll just be talking about it and maybe showing little clips or something on the podcast next week. But we'll see how that goes. No promises at all. Okay, so back to where this all started. Not going to Rhinebeck, but I do get to go to a yarn festival in the state of Wisconsin, not in Perth, which is in Scotland. Anyway. The Rhinebeck sweater this year by Andrea Mowry is called Alpenglow, and it is in the usual Magpie fibers and spin cycle yarns. And I don't know if I like it or if I just like am having like the social contagion situation where I just want to knit it because everyone else is knitting it. So I looked at my stash to see if I could scrounge something up to put it together. And I can almost do it. So I grabbed what I have. Let me just do a couple more. Okay. So I have some Autumn and Indigo yarn. However, the most I have of any of these colors in sport weight, which is what the pattern calls for, and I don't even have like DK or fingering really outside of my Holst and my other yarn cones that I could substitute. And interesting, what if I did a Holst Alpenglow? That would be cool. Okay, I might have to do some more playing around, but if I held it double, that's still like a DK, a lighter DK, which I could probably get gauge with, or just do the math and then use some of my Mohair. Oh my goodness, maybe I have to do that. Anyway, we'll play with that later. But for now, I have these three colors in sport weight yarn from Autumn and Indigo. This one is Overcast. That's not this color, which is just like an off-white, warmer colored yarn. Urchin is this lighter purple. And then my main color would be this blue, which is actually one of a kind colorway. But that would be the main color. And then my fluff would just be, I have this plus another little donut of the Lana Grossa Silk Hair from what I knit my first Lento in, this like bluish gray color. So I thought that would be kind of fun to do this. So basically the way that Andrea's is there's like a solid color and then a fluff and then the main body and then the spin cycle that goes throughout. So for the first solid color, like for the neckband and the cuffs, that's like one skein in my size, and then the spin cycle would just be the equivalent of one skein, and then the fluff is like a pretty minimal amount, and then obviously the body would need 3 skeins. So I do only have 2. So I was trying to see like, okay, maybe I do this part in this color or this part in that color because you only need this many grams of this contrast or whatever it is. And so I would have to kind of like work it out. It wouldn't be exactly that. The thing is, like, I don't know how much I would wear that sweater, and I don't think that I want to purchase new yarn in order to make it. I think the only way that I'll make it is if I can make something work from stash. Just because I don't know how much I would wear that garment, in all honesty. Okay, now I can't stop thinking about using my cones. And now I feel like I'm gonna do it, and it's gonna be in cone yarn, and I can just toss these guys aside. Wow, daydreaming is half the fun of knitting, right? Okay, so maybe I'll do that. But yes, I basically have just been trying to decide, like, do I actually want this in my wardrobe, or do I just want to make it because everyone else is? And this is a little bit funny because I am not one to, like, really jump on trends. Like, if everybody has something, it makes me not want something. And so that's why I'm kind of thinking, like, wait, do I actually want to make this pattern? Like, I don't know. So probably overthinking, but that's good because I haven't cast it on yet, which means that I will focus on the 17,000 other whips that I have going rather than casting on this new one. Wow, now I'm just thinking too much about my cone colors and everything, which leads me into my next thing that I have been eyeing, and that is participating in Stephen West's Mystery Knit Along, which is in the month of October. So I've mentioned before that I'm just not a shawl knitter. I don't have a place for those in my wardrobe. I'm not super interested in like all of that. I like a lot more simple things and more neutral things. And so the idea of like a wacky shawl is just like, I would never use it or wear it. So I could gift it and I could give it away or do something like that. So that's on the table. But I also just have a hard time thinking about the fact that 5 skeins of fingering weight yarn going into a shawl, like I could just make a sweater. Like I could do that and knit myself a sweater. So I don't know. I'm going back and forth on whether I want to do it. I did do a poll on Instagram seeing if people, despite me not being a shawl knitter, think that I should do it. And there was only one person that said no. Everyone else said yes. So now I'm curious because I kind of just want to do it for like the experience of it as well. Like the challenge of making that giant garment in the 4 weeks time with learning the new techniques and doing all of that. And so I think I could make it work where I find some of my happy neutrals and create the shawl. And I think the other thing that's like especially piqued my interest for this year is he always puts out like yarn suggestions, and then they also have kits for sale from Stephen and Penelope, which is his shop, Stephen West, who's the designer of the MCAL. Sorry for those of you who aren't familiar that I'm just babbling on, like, you know what I'm talking about. So yes, it's a yearly thing, been going on for super long time, where Stephen West, a designer who, like, I've never knit anything Stephen West, and I've never really been interested in anything. He has like one Vertices Unite shawl that a lot of people have made in like their color palette basically that I might be interested in, but again, it's a shawl. However, I feel like that's more of a scarfy leaning shawl rather than many of his shawl designs where it's like just crazy. Like oh my gosh, there's a lot going on. Like last year, everyone joked about like the I-cord shrimps because there's this whole section of it where you do an I-cord and they like looped around. And so it's just like bizarre stuff that he puts together. But anyway, rambly. I did scroll through the kits like just to see, and 2 things about them. One, he says that it's best to do like solid colors, and also the theme this year is twists and turns, and so I'm thinking it's probably going to be like cables or like twisted stitches and stuff like that. And the recommended yarns are almost all just solid colors rather than like 5 different variegated colors like usually happens, or like 3 variegated and 2 neutrals or whatever it is. So I'm very interested in doing it this year, and I feel like this would be the year to do it. So I can use my Holst yarn cones, because that is actually some of the kits that they had were from Holst. And so I'm like, this will be perfect. Like, I don't have to buy anything new. I can use some of my cones up. I do have like a white cone, and then I have some of my like grayish ones, like the truffle that I use for the, for my lento. And then I have this like deep purple. So it's 3 colors. It needs 5 skeins, 2 of one, 2 of the next, 1 of a third. That's your color pop. And so I could use 3 of my Holst cones, and I think that would work out pretty well. And so I can just knit my Alpenglow in my Holst cone, and then do shawl knit along Stephen West in my Holst cones, and be covered in Holst cone yarn. Perfect. So yes, I guess if any of you have done the MCAL before, let me know what you thought of it, because I'm very tempted by like the challenge of it, the community aspect of it, and just like getting to experience it. It's just like, what will I do with the final product is my question. And while I do of course love the process of knitting, I am in the end a product knitter. So I want to be able to see myself using that, or maybe I will be able to gift it to somebody, but I don't just want to gift it because I don't want it, if that makes sense. So I'll need to decide what I want to do, but it doesn't start for another few weeks. So I do have time to make my final decision. You have time to talk to me in the comments and tell me whether or not I should do it. And that will be that. So yes, maybe the MCAL. Do want Alpenglow. We'll see. I feel like you'll probably know by next week whether I'm going to knit the Alpenglow, because it will be cast on. And of course the MCAL, that will be, or it will not be till, oh my goodness, I guess I need more coffee. That will not be till October. Okay. Other things that I've been interested in. So, is it Young Folk Knits? I think so. I think she and other people are doing an unspun cal, where they're using like Letlopi or Manchalopes or any of the other kind of unspun yarn, which I've always been intrigued by, especially now that I have ventured into the land of non-superwash yarns. I definitely want to try it. I don't know what I would do with it. I know B Mandrines has like, she almost like only knits with unspun yarn unless it's socks, so could check out some of her patterns. I also feel like just doing a basic raglan would be cozy, because that wouldn't be like super high on your neck or anything. I would definitely want to do something a little more simple with my first venture into unspun yarns. I'd love everyone's feedback. I just want to hear from all of you, your opinions on all the things I'm saying. But I definitely want to participate in that. That one is starting like sometime in September and going all the way through into next year at some point. So not something I need to like cast on immediately, but something I'll keep in the back of my mind as I'm online shopping for yarn sometimes. So yes, another thing that, something I've wanted to knit with for a while. Oh my gosh, I can't quit yawning. Something I've wanted to knit with for a while, so doing it with the cal will be especially fun. I think that's about it for dream knitting at this point. Anything else that's been going on that I'm interested by? I don't think so. I'm trying to start kind of deciding what I want to do for gift knitting for Christmas this year. We typically do like a not white elephant, like a rob your neighbor, where you bring like one good gift for each side of the family, and there's just like a price limit, and then you pick out something and do it. And I was thinking it might be fun to do like knit some socks or something and put those in the gift exchange, but that's also, oh my goodness, oh, excuse me, that makes it a little bit tricky because of course there are men with large feet and women with smaller feet in the family, so figuring out what would be the ideal size, or if I just like did rib socks. I also thought about doing like a 2-pack where there's one more men's size and one more women's size, and so whoever gets it, their significant other gets a bonus present. Yes. Or if I just do it small, then all the ladies will fight over it, probably. Or large, all the men will fight over it. I don't know. Okay, that's enough about that. But yes, just scheming for the future. Oh, for Pete's sake. I can't stop yawning. I guess that's a sign that I should wrap this up because we're also approaching an hour. There's some people who apologize when their podcasts are super long, but I'm always like, most of the time sad that it's over. Like, I like long podcasts. I feel like, I don't know. I don't think I've ever been sad when a podcast has kept going. Anyway, okay, but I suppose that might just be because people know when to turn the camera off and not just ramble on forever. Alrighty, I think we'll call that a day then. Wrapping up the usual way, something that's bringing me joy, or has brought me joy, and that was, we had some family visiting this last weekend, so it was just great to spend some time with them. Enjoyed a few really nice dinners, and we always go to this one brunch spot. It actually was not a very good experience this time, which is a bummer, but oh well, maybe next time. And yes, just getting to like hang out and enjoy family was a great way to spend the long weekend here in the States. So fun stuff there. As always, I pray that you are finding joy in your life as well. Tell me about it below. Make sure to enter the giveaway, like, subscribe, and comment whatever you wish. Or I don't even remember what I said earlier. So I'll be surprised when I read the comments about what people were talking about. Wow, I really just can't recall. That means it's time to end this thing. All right. I wish you all well. Happy knitting. Let's cut this off. Bye.